The United States spends a truly staggering amount of money on its military. It's more than the next 10 countries combined. In 2023, the Pentagon budget was a whopping $853 billion. That's billion with a B. To put that in perspective, it's more than the entire economies of many countries. Historically, US military spending has seen significant increases, especially during times of conflict. Now you might be thinking, a strong military is important. We need to protect ourselves, and you wouldn't be wrong. But the sheer scale of US military spending raises some important questions. Is all this money actually making us safer, or is it just lining the pockets of defense contractors and fueling a dangerous arms race? Comparing with other countries, the US has consistently outspent its rivals even during the Cold War era. Today, the US spends a significant portion of its GDP on the military, far more than most other nations. So where does this mountain of money actually go? Let's break down the Pentagon's budget. The biggest chunk, $352 billion, goes to operations and maintenance. This covers everything from fuel and repairs to training exercises and even international sporting events. That's right, folks, your tax dollars at work funding the Army's a sports team. Then there's military personnel, which eats up another $172 billion. This pays for the salaries, healthcare and retirement of over 3 million active duty reserve and civilian personnel. Now, I'm all for supporting our troops, but with a price tag like that, you'd hope they're getting top-notch care and benefit. Spoiler alert, they're not always. Next up, we have research and development at $140 billion. This is where things get interesting. We're talking cutting-edge technology like AI-powered drones, hypersonic missiles, and maybe even some laser beams. It's like something out of a science fiction movie, except it's real and it's costing you a lot of money. Finally, there's procurement, which comes in at $167 billion. This is where the big toys come in. Fighter jets, warships, tanks, you name it. And let me tell you, these things don't come cheap. A single F-35 fighter jet, for example, costs over $80 million. That's enough to buy a lot of textbooks or healthcare or, well, you get the idea. Now here's where things get really murky. A huge chunk of the Pentagon's budget, we're talking over half, goes to private contractors. These companies range from giants like Lockheed Martin and Boeing to smaller, lesser-known firms. They provide everything from weapons systems to logistical support to, believe it or not, gourmet meals for soldiers stationed overseas. The problem is this reliance on private contractors creates a whole host of issues. For starters, it's incredibly difficult to track where all the money is going. The Pentagon has a notoriously bad track record when it comes to auditing, and contractors have been known to exploit this lack of oversight to overcharge for their services. Then there's the issue of the revolving door between the government and the defense industry. Former generals and politicians often end up working for these contractors, leveraging their connections and insider knowledge to secure lucrative contracts. And of course, let's not forget about good old-fashioned lobbying. Defense contractors spend billions every year lobbying Congress to keep the money flowing. It's a cozy little system, wouldn't you say? For example, in 2011, a contractor charged the Pentagon $1,500 for a single bolt, a part that typically costs just a few dollars. The revolving door phenomenon is also evident in cases like that of a former high-ranking official who joined a defense contractor and helped secure a multi-billion-dollar contract shortly after leaving government service. So here's the million-dollar question. Is all this spending actually making us safer? It's a complex question with no easy answers. On the one hand, having a strong military can deter potential adversaries and protect our interests abroad. But on the other hand, there's a real risk that all this military spending is actually making the world a more dangerous place. Think about it. When we pour trillions of dollars into our military, other countries feel pressured to do the same. This can lead to a dangerous arms race, where everyone is trying to outdo each other with bigger and more destructive weapons. Take the Cold War, for example. The US and the Soviet Union spent decades building up their arsenals, leading to a constant state of tension and fear. The Cuban Missile Crisis brought the world to the brink of nuclear war, showing just how perilous an arms race can be. Imagine if we took even a fraction of that military budget and invested it in things like education, healthcare, or renewable energy. Not only would it improve the lives of millions of Americans, but it could also make the world a safer and more prosperous place for everyone. Just something to think about. For more interesting videos like this, make sure you like, share, subscribe, and click on the notification for more update. Thank you for watching.